All right, we'll call the meeting of the Mayor and Town Council to order, and the meeting's being broadcast live on Comcast Channel 23.
You forgot to give the 5-minute warning.
Oh, 5-second warning to, I assume at this point they've caught up. So the meeting's being broadcast live on Comcast Channel 23 and live streamed by the links with Carroll Media Center and Facebook.com/Carroll Media Center. So please rise for the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Lord, we submit ourselves to you as your servants and the servants of the people of Hampstead who place their trust in us. Please allow every word that is spoken and every action taken to be in the best interest of Hampstead and for everyone gathered here tonight to be a stabilizing influence in these unsettled times. The Lord bless this meeting and our town. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Jim, roll.
Mayor Nevin.
Here.
Councilmember Barrett.
Here.
Councilmember Painter.
Here.
Councilmember Thomas.
Present.
Councilmember Oglesby.
Here.
And Councilmember Zolman.
Here.
Thank you. Minute approvals from our council meeting in August.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. All right, Jim, you're up.
All right, so staff report for this month. Normally I lead off every month talking about the water system centralization and modernization project. I apologize in advance because this is long, simply because there is so much going on with that project right now and the amount of time that we're investing in it. I just thought it was necessary to bring everybody up to date on where we stand.
And a few dollars.
Yes. So right now, the design of the new pipelines are almost complete. There's 5 different tasks, 5 different pipelines which will need to be completed. They've been assigned numbers, task 1 through task 5. Task 1 has been approved and through the review process by the town, the county, and MDE, so that has received a grading permit. Task 2, 3, and 4, they've been approved by the town and are still being reviewed by the county and the MDE. Task 5 is currently being reviewed by the town. It's a pretty simple one. That's the easiest one. Once we approve, it'll go to the county and to MDE for their review. Along with the pipelines, there's also several utility easement agreements which will need to be completed. One with Westwood Park. There's another one with a residence over in North Carroll Farms. There was another one that for the entrance, the new entrance to the dairy facility, which is right by the northern welcome sign. There's an existing 20-foot easement there. What we're doing is we're widening it to 40 feet to put a new water line underneath, and then that will also become the new service road to get back to the dairy facility. So once all 5 grading permits are issued from the county and MDE is signed off on it, then we begin the bid process for the pipeline construction contract. Okay. Along with the pipeline construction, there was also a proposal put out for pipeline construction inspection services, and it was due on Friday, August 30th. We received 2 proposals. They're currently being reviewed by the town staff to determine which is the best in the best interest of the town. October council meeting, we will bring our choice for hopefully your approval.
So that access road goes from south of the house right behind the sign to immediately north?
No, it will go north of the house now.
Yeah.
It will come, yes, it'll come out of being in the middle of that
Driveway,
yard.
common use and driveway.
Yes, it'll go to the north, right next to the welcome sign.
Okay.
We're also in the process of receiving bids for the procurement of granulated activated carbon and ion exchange equipment. This is the equipment. The granulated activated carbon is equipment necessary to treat the PFAS issue. The town in this process is strictly procurement, so we don't purchase the equipment in this process. What it does is allows the town to specify the exact equipment we want to use, the request for bids when we put it out, excuse me, for the water treatment plant construction contract. The contractor then is required to purchase the specified equipment during the construction process for the water treatment plant. This ensures we get exactly what works best for us. Bids for the GAC and ion exchange equipment are due on October 15th. Then we get into the site plans. So the concept site plan for the 4 new water plants, water treatment plants. It's all under one site plan, excuse me, with 4 different locations. It's been submitted to the county and to the Hampstead Planning and Zoning Commission for their review. Hampstead Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on the concept site plan on September 25th. Along with that, you have the construction plans for the water treatment plants. We had the 85% complete design meeting, so that's been passed. Now they're looking towards the 95%. That's going to take a while because this is when they really get into the fine details of what's going to be in the plant, what's going to go where. So they're always reaching out to Kevin and Public Works for their input on what will work best for them in these facilities. Along with that, one of the things we're going to do prior to putting out the request for bids for the water treatment plants is we're going to hold an industry day. So what that does is we'll invite contractors, basically contractors we know, along with contractors that meet the requirements of disadvantaged business enterprises and minority enterprises. We'll invite them out and on October the 10th, and we reached out to Coppermine Pantherplex about using their auditorium. And they were gracious enough to allow us to use it that day, so we thank them for that. So, in a nutshell, that's what's going on right now with the water treatment project.
So
Questions?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So there will be a contractor that was purchasing the equipment, and they can potentially not be the same contractor that's doing the pipeline or the water treatment plants, right?
No, it will be the same contractor. So when we put out to bid for the contractors to put in bids for the actual construction contract, in that request for bids, there will be the specs on what they must use as far as the GAC equipment and the ion exchange equipment.
So you're in the process of receiving bids for this equipment, but
For
you're
the
not-
procurement of this equipment.
Okay, and then
Which gives us flexibility as to what equipment we buy without us sitting up here at that.
so the person that wins that, though, when you request for proposals for the pipeline construction,
No, for the water treatment plant construction.
will get that.
Correct. They will get those specs and say, this is what needs, this is, basically you have the specs for the building, you have the specs for the pipelines, you have the specs for everything. Now you're also going to have the specs for the actual equipment that needs to go in the building.
Okay, I'm just confused because you have going up to bid for 3 different things.
Where we have
Tasks-
5 different
Tasks
bids.
1 through 5.
Yep. Yeah, so we have
But you're saying one person that gets one of them will get the rest of them.
as far as pipeline construction, yes. Yes. I thought you were talking water treatment plants.
I am. I'm talking water treatment and the equipment
So the
and
equipment.
the tasking of the pipes.
Okay, so we have the
I'm very
pipeline.
confused.
Yes, it's very confusing. So within the entire thing, we have the pipeline project, okay, of which there are 5 tasks, 5 different pipelines.
Yes.
So in there, we put out for the pipeline construction, okay? Someone for the pipeline construction. Along with that, we have a pipeline in construction inspection service contract.
Right.
Those are the 2 associated with the pipelines. So then, we now have a request for bids, basically just to manufacturers of the GAC equipment and the ion exchange equipment. Basically, this is what we're looking for. Now we're looking to get a price and the ability for you to make it with a turnaround time and everything like that. So then these manufacturers get back to us with, okay, here's what our cost will be. Here's how quickly we can turn it around. At that point, we will say, okay, we would like to use you. So then we issue them a procurement contract. Okay, so basically then that sits. We then move into the construction phase for the water treatment plants. Okay, at which point we'll have a construction contract for the water treatment plants along with an inspection contract. So at that point, whoever won the GAC bid and the specifications that we told them, then those specifications along with that procurement contract goes into the RFP or the RFB for the construction services.
Okay.
If that makes sense now. I know it's very confusing.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically that's one more specification that we are adding to the construction, just like the site plans. Now you actually have the actual equipment that's going inside too.
Okay. It's weird that we're doing the procurement for the equipment, but then passing the contract
So
to
we
the
don't,
contractor
it's so
for that equipment.
we're not paying that for that equipment now.
So why don't we just give them the 3 alternate specs that they can price, and then they price it and procure it? Why do we need to
Because
be involved in the procurement?
we're fairly confident between us and our engineers that are working on this, that we can get exactly what we want. So if it went to the contractor, he's not going to be as careful in the selection process as we would be.
The GAC equipment, the GAC equipment and the ion exchange equipment are key to this, or it doesn't work.
No, yeah.
So I'm comfortable that we have our engineers with last look.
I agree, and I
Okay.
feel like if we're specifying to the manufacturers what to price, can't we just pass it on to the contractors and they procure it? Why do we need a procurement contract?
Can I-
Sure.
There's two things I'd like to say. The first thing is this enables us to do the process quicker and meet our timelines that MDE has put on, and the federal government had attached to the money
Okay.
that we got the grant. If we waited until the contractor had to do it, we would lose quite a bit of time, then getting the shop drawings and moving forward with the GAC equipment.
Right.
And the other part of it is it keeps the whole project sort of flowing along, and it gives us the ability to sort of bid these ahead of time. So MDE can approve the GAC, and we're not holding up the contractor.
Right. So basically, we're nowhere near the point where right now where we're ready to put out bids for the construction, water treatment plant construction contract. So we've got this open window, and let's take advantage of it.
You have your visual aid ready?
I do. So I just want to point this out. So when we do a pipeline project in town with town funds, and we put them out, like here's one from 2022, that was 4 different pipelines around town. So we put it out, and it is 17 pages and tells you everything you need to know about the project. So now we're using federal grant money, and we're using state money. And so we're dealing with many hoops to jump through, and the fact that we need to do good faith efforts, and we need to make sure that all minority and disadvantaged business interests, enterprises have a chance and are aware of this project, and everybody can bid on it. So here is the request for bids for the new pipeline construction for this project.
300.
We went from 17 pages to 361. So that just gives you an idea of all the federal mumbo jumbo that goes
Federal
into
guidelines,
these-
Jim?
Federal guidelines, there you go. And that goes into this.
Don't
So
bite the hand that's feeding
no,
us,
I
please.
just, there's a lot of paperwork and a long paper trail that goes into all this, and it's great that we get the money, and wouldn't turn it away. But there's a lot of stuff we need to do in order to satisfy MDE and EPA. So I just wanted to bring everybody up to date on that. So
Well done. Now you can go to number 2 on your list,
Yeah, number 2.
since this is not all you do.
Yes, it's close. But also, along those lines, EPA also, we talked about it, put out a lead and copper service line inventory. I talked about 2 weeks ago about the amazing job that Kevin and Toby and Christina were doing. Well, they finished it. And so it's all done. They've got to just basically wrap it up into a package and ship it off to EPA? MDE. I found this interesting. So the 2 proposals that we got for the inspection service of the pipelines, in their resumes of things, the jobs that they're working on now, both those companies are doing lead and copper service line inventories for different municipalities around the country because they couldn't do it in-house. So it's just a great job. Board of Zoning Appeals, we have a hearing next Tuesday, the 17th, for a variance requested by Douglas and Christina Hinkle, requesting the variance to build a detached garage in the side yard of their residence at 3825 Eagle Ridge Court. Town code requires detached garages to be built in rear yards unless the variance is granted, as we've run into many times. In Oakmont and Oakmont Overlook, there's many problems with septic fields and dry wells basically occupying the entire rear yards. So they're not allowed, they can't do that because of that. So the only place they can put it on the side yard, they're coming to BZA and, appealing to them and hopefully getting approval. Finance, Cheryl completed the 2024 audit worksheet. sent along with supporting documentation to the auditors. The auditors are on site this week collecting additional data for the preparation of the 2024 financial statements. Chesapeake Employers Insurance has reached out to us to schedule the annual workers' comp audit also. We are waiting clarification from them as to whether they will be on site or whether we need to update or need to upload everything to the portal, and they'll just do it that way. Town was recently awarded 2 grants. We received a grant in the amount of $207,278 from Community Parks and Playground, and we'll use that for the installation of a new inclusive playground equipment at the Panther Park playground area. We also received a police accountability, community, and transparency grant in the amount of $35,000 to purchase body-worn camera and virtual reality training equipment. This grant will provide funding to replace aging and no longer manufactured body-worn camera equipment, while also providing funding to supplement officer training with a virtual reality simulator system. I got to give a shout out to Judy. She does an amazing job with these grants. And so, thank you.
Yes, Judy.
Hampstead Merchants Association. So every year they've always had a Vino at the Vineyard in the fall for the last several years. And it was back at Galloping Goose. Well, Galloping Goose Vineyards has closed. So HMA looked for a new location, and they settled on Roman's Brewery on Harvey Gummel Road. So basically now it's no longer a Vino at the Vineyard because it will be wine and beer. So they had to come up with a new name. It's now known as a Countryside Cask and Cork Evening. So it'll be beer, wine, there'll be food, there'll be live music. It's a great event and a great night to socialize and network. And I think the change of venue will add to the festivities. It's being held Friday, October the 4th from 5:30 to 8:30. Once the actual invitation goes out, which will be hopefully tomorrow, I'll make sure everyone up here is aware of it, and we'll see what we need to do as far as for the town for the event.
I didn't know Henry made wine.
Who?
Rollman.
No,
I thought it was strictly beer, but okay.
he doesn't. We're getting wine from outside.
Okay.
So, and then the final thing, Hampstead Main Street Partnership. Hampstead Main Street Partnership will hold Fall Fest on October 12th. The event will feature live music, vendors, fall-based activities for kids, a hayride, and a beer garden. The event will take place on the grounds of War Memorial Park, St. John's Church, and Matthews Tire. The town will have a table at the event, so we'll need some people to staff that, and also for anyone else, stop on by and learn more about what's going on around town. I think that's plenty, so I'm done.
Yep. Any other questions for Jim?
That's how you really feel.
I always talk about that, it looks very calm, that duck on the surface, but everybody's working really hard. All right, Diane, as we wind down farmers market season.
Okay, we are in the last month of the Hampstead Farmers Market's 15th season. The last market day for this year will be September 28th. This month, we are partnering with NESAP to help restock their food pantry, which has become bare. There will be collection boxes for non-perishable food donations next to the market house. Customers who bring donations for NESAP are invited to enter a drawing for a gift card to one of our local restaurants. So please drop off any canned or packaged food contributions at the back of the market, and then come see me at the entrance to complete a ticket for the drawing, or see Wayne if he's filling in for me. The nonprofit group Stop MPRP has also had a table at the market for the past few weeks, and they will continue through the end of the season. This is the official group that is in opposition to the Maryland-Piedmont Power Line project. I found this group to be very knowledgeable about the issues, and they will be there to answer any questions and to sell signs and T-shirts to raise money for their ensuing legal battle. That's all I have.
Thank you. Wayne?
The Hampstead train station's final Music in the Park is this Saturday. The weather looks fantastic. We have Blue Moon Big Band coming out from 6 to 8, so hope everybody can come out. The Hampstead train station is also sponsoring the Christmas Farmers Market, which is going to be on Friday, November 22nd. It's just going to be on Friday night, but it's going to be from 4 to 9 o'clock in the evening. So hope everybody can come out for that. There'll be probably more on that next month. The Tree Commission, we're doing a fall planting on November 2nd. believe it's the second or the ninth, to replace some of the trees that didn't survive the drought this summer. And then in the spring, I'm happy to announce that we got a Chesapeake Bay Trust Urban Tree Award grant. This is part of the 5 billion trees for Maryland. It's about almost $3,000 to plant 30 trees over at Westwood Park at a tot lot off of Wellesley Court. And thank you, Judy, for helping with that grant as well. I appreciate that. That's it.
We got a lot of trees in
We
that
got a lot
park.
of open space.
Okay. Just checking. Deb?
All right, the Planning and Zoning Commission met on Wednesday, August 28th. The first thing on the agenda was the approval of a sign for F. Douglas Herald Agency at 1413 North Main Street. And that sign is being moved from 1359 North Main. It's a double-faced sign with logo on both sides and a solar light on top of the post. Next was the introduction of the Town of Hampstead water treatment plans, concept site plans. This will entail 4 plants, as Jim had discussed. I will not go into the details again. And finally, the commission discussed Chapter 4 of the Community Comprehensive Plan, Demographics and Projections. This includes the population facts from the last census. 2 more chapters to go.
We'll get there eventually. All right, Dave.
Okay, and as Jim stated in his report, the town did receive that community parks and playground grant for the expansion of the current playground area of Panther Park to add an inclusive playground park area. Construction for that project is anticipated to start late fall of this year. The town will also continue to submit grant opportunities to enhance our current parks and rec facilities. I want to thank, real quick, the members and missionaries from the Church of the Latter-day Saints in Hampstead for all the help this past weekend at the Richards Family Garden Center. We rebuilt a washed-out path that was there. We constructed 4 new paths. We did some work in the rose garden area. We built a new flower bed, and we got some large rocks that we were able to put around the Y oak, the seedling that's up there to protect that. So within 2 hours, they did probably months' worth of work that it would have taken us. So I'm very thankful. So hats off to them.
How big's a seedling?
Ceiling's probably about 3 foot tall now.
Okay. Getting there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ben?
Okay, for August, water usage was 360,000 gallons per day. September so far is 372,000 gallons per day. The rainfall for August was 9.55 inches, so just over 9.5 inches. And so far for September,
Nada.
is nothing. 1/100.
Sorry. We'll take the 9 in August.
Yeah.
And apparently we fixed whatever we needed to get our water usage down.
It's going back up. As you can see, we're dry, extremely dry again. And we're back up now to where we were in August.
Well, we got the one school that was having an issue.
Yeah, the school, North Carroll Middle School fixed an issue, but the water continues to be high.
Okay. We're okay with rain, but not Saturday night.
I wasn't gonna mention that.
Okay.
Don't use the R word.
Sorry. Liquid precipitation. Chief? You're good. You're green light.
Good evening, everyone. During the month of August, with reference to traffic safety, we investigated 8 accidents. 7 were minor, 1 was reportable, and 3 took place at the 42 circle. Speed signs were set at 7 locations for a total of 40 days of display. Traffic enforcement included 25 selective enforcements over an 11-hour period. Actions during that activity included 16 citations and 17 warnings. Overall, traffic enforcement included 182 citations, 181 warnings. We conducted 538 property checks. With reference to reported crime, 1 assault, 1 burglary, 3 incidents of vandalism, that's the MDOP there, 3 thefts, 2 ID thefts, 3 DUIs, 2 incidents involving trespassing, 1 fraud, 1 invasion of privacy, and 1 indecent exposure. Arrests included 3 DUIs, 1 theft, 1 incident of trespassing, and 1 individual was charged with vandalism, MDOP. Traffic arrests included 2 suspended drivers, 4 unlicensed drivers, and 3 uninsured drivers. We conducted 38 hours of training, which included topics such as the Maryland Public Information Act, officer safety on domestic incidents, traffic incident management, and we actually sent Officer Burris through the International Police Mountain Bike School, so he was certified as an official bike officer. You'll see him at different community events. We'll have him out there. He's very excited about his bike, and he will take his time to explain it to you. But we expect to have him out there. We hope to have him out there during the Fall Fest, and I think it's a good addition to what we have. Community events included, we arranged a visit for the Sheriff's Department to come down and visit the Police Department. Sergeant Fogarty brought a special friend with him, show him around our facility since he lives in the area. We attended the Roberts Field HOA. Obviously, the big thing for August is the carnival. A lot of time and effort goes into that. And we included our National Night Out celebration during the carnival. The fire department was kind enough to give us a little bit of space. We had to cut it short because of the weather, but we appreciate them making that accommodation for us. And we also participated in the countywide sobriety checkpoint out in New Windsor that took place on Labor Day weekend. With reference, I don't have it listed on your report there, but just some add-ons real quick. With reference to personnel, and we'll cover this a little bit more hopefully in next month's council meeting, where we hope to plan a badge ceremony, but Matthew Blanton and Dalton Cape are our 2 newest police officers. The mayor and I went down to their graduation 2 weeks ago.
Friday before Labor Day.
Friday before Labor Day. They did very well. We're excited to have them back, so you should start seeing them out there doing the field training process during the next couple of weeks. They entered there in March. They finish in August. I don't want to say too much about it because I'll save that for next month, but we're very proud of what they did. I'd like to give just some credit to Sam Geiger, our admin person, and Dan Vanek. They did put a lot of work into the grant that we received. Just to remind folks, we've had body cameras. I think we were the first to get them in the county. So our body cameras are aged. They're a piece of electronic equipment that's on all the time, out in various forms of weather. They no longer make the models that we use. I was very satisfied with the models we have, but Motorola purchased a company, so now we have to change what we're going to be using. So it's a positive thing for us, and they put a lot of work into that. Jim also mentioned part of the grant covers it's called the MILO system, which stands for the Multiple Interactive Learning Objectives. It's a virtual reality thing that will give us the ability to give us opportunities to set up scenarios that there's countless ones. It all comes down to what you put into the computer, and it gives our guys an opportunity to experience different scenarios and hopefully challenge them in a way that they develop some skills to de-escalate, and God forbid if we would have to use it in the real world. And I think that would be my report at this point.
Questions for Chief? All right, thanks. Appreciate it. So my report, Diana already talked about the power lines. Lots of discussion. You see the signs around town for the Maryland Piedmont Reliability Project. I know I attended, Diane did too, the meeting at the Ag Center in August, and I've learned a new word, reconductoring, from Senator Chris West. So been looking into that. We'll see how that goes. My understanding is that PSEG is supposed to come out with their recommendation this month. So there'll be more info to follow. Stay on top of it. As Chief said, I attended the police graduation. It was a very good event, and our guys did very well, particularly one, but I'll save it for next month. Didn't want to ruin the surprise, like Chief said. Tomorrow we have a Maryland Municipal League Carroll County chapter meeting here at Hampstead at Greenmount. 50 of the municipal and county officials will be here in Hampstead. Talk about, I'm sure, the power lines, amongst other things. Legislative season's coming up. Excuse me. I have Dave and I have a board retreat with MML on Friday down in Annapolis. where we're going to talk about the legislative initiatives that we have for this year, and I would think they're going to be adopted. So I serve on the legislative committee this year, so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be. But it's going to be a very interesting session. Lots to do with money, as the governor's already pointing out. We don't have enough, so he's got to make some hard spending choices. So that's my report. Never a dull minute around town hall, as you can tell when Jim gives his report. On to new business, and the first item is we have the reappointment of the Hampstead Tree Commission members for a term of 3 years. Those members are Nora Ward, Janice Hanson, Jeff Stomp, Kim Van Brown, and Kelly Kraus, and all 5 of them are returning members. So I have a motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
A second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Good. All right. 3 of them are here. Janice, Nora, and Jeff, come on up.
Come on up.
Just, why don't you go that? You're good. All right, so you're Nora. Thank you. Janice, thank you. All right. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. We'll start with names first. I
Janice Hansen.
Jeff Stump.
do swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I do swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
To the state of
to the state of
Maryland.
Maryland,
town of Hampstead,
Town of Hampstead.
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
that I will to the best of my skill and judgment
and that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office as a member of the Tree Commission of the town of Hampstead
execute the office as a member of the Tree Commission of the town of Hampstead,
according to the Constitution and laws of this state.
according to the Constitution and laws of this state.
Congratulations, you're now reaffirmed.
Right.
Here, you guys sign a couple different times.
Me?
Yep.
Yep.
One for you, one for us. You should know how this works by now.
I should.
You want a picture? Yes. Stand right.
And then I have
You don't have a
We're going to
choice.
add that to the oath.
You don't have a choice. You
Must
stand
have a
right there, ready
picture.
to go.
Gotta sign them both.
Two.
Sorry,
No,
test
you're
it. There you go.
There you go.
Well, she-
Thank you.
Yeah, you get one. We keep one. He should know this.
Yes, I
Here,
do.
that's the better signed one.
It's suitable for Franny.
My handwriting has gone to pot.
From the dispensary?
There you be.
Thank you, sir.
My handwriting's going to pot.
Hmm?
My handwriting's going to pot, I said from the dispensary.
No.
Yes.
All right.
There it is. You gonna grace us with one?
Come on.
Come on. You can do it.
It's not going to hurt.
Here you go, sir. Thank you.
No, you stand. I'll be on the end. We'll put the roses between the thorns.
There we go. Smile.
Yeah, I don't want to.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you all very much, appreciate it. Thanks, Drew. The door's locked.
All right. Second item is the discussion and approval of the installation of no parking signs on Willow Street. Jim?
Okay, so occasionally we'll get complaints about cars parking near curves. It's not very often. When we get numerous about the same intersection, we will investigate. So for the last few months, myself and our chief was checking it out too. So there's 2 intersections on Willow Street that basically we have determined are trouble intersections when people park all the way up. Troublesome intersections that when cars park all the way up to the intersection. And that is the intersection of Oxford Lane and Willow and that is directly across from the entrance to Shiloh Middle School. And if you look at the pictures on the left, when turning left, there's nothing parked there. There's a fairly good line of sight. If you look the other side, there's basically that white Jeep there. That white Jeep basically would not be allowed to park there. It's one spot, 20 feet is what we're looking to determine to be no stopping, standing, or parking. That 20-foot is established in the Transportation Article 21. That's what they determine is 20 feet of a crosswalk or an intersection. So that's the one intersection is Oxford at Willow. The other, which is on the back of the sheet, is Shiloh at Willow. And that one, especially when someone parks close to it on the left-hand side, it is very hard to see to be able to get out.
Yep.
So we're just making a request to approve installation of no parking signs at those two intersections.
Oh, you didn't cover the right.
Well, along with the right also at the corner of Willow and Shiloh.
Yeah. Any chance you get the guy to cut the bushes?
That is in the works still.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. So then the last item of business is the award of contract for paving of various town roads. We had two bids, one from both well-known to us, both local, one from White Pine Paving and one from C.J. Miller. Obviously, C.J. is the low bidder at $182,968. White Pine was about 6% higher, but we would recommend that we go with C.J. Miller in this instance.
Oh, look at me.
Somebody,
So moved.
let's not stand on ceremony. So motion and a second. Any discussion of the bids? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thanks. There are no ordinances or resolutions. Public comments? Greg, you're here tonight. I'm sure you would like to chat. Greg Malvo, who's the candidate for Board of Education. Is that still on, Jim?
You have to turn it on right here, this little button. Light up green. Hold it down.
It's a couple seconds.
There you go, it's on.
It's on? Hello?
Yep.
Okay. So, yes, I'm Greg Malvo. I appreciate the time to speak with you all and to hear about all the wonderful work that you're doing here. I appreciate that as well. I'm a resident of Hampstead as well and father of a Carroll County public school student. I've been in education for over 2 decades, and I'm currently, as it was said, running for the Board of Education for Carroll County. I appreciate that it was brought up today from Councilmember Barrett as well as Mayor Nevin about the Stop MPRP and Maryland Piedmont project. It is something I want to discuss a little bit. There's a specific concern, in fact, with it, and that is that the potential risk that it brings to our children and, of course, the subsequent disruption of nearby open spaces. Some of our public schools and parks fall within close proximity of this 70-mile-long, 500-kilovolt electric line. And so, in fact, even Hampstead's own Spring Garden Elementary School is a close site to the plan. It's about 0.2 miles from the path of the intended power line, or about 1,056 feet. There have been different views in terms of what's a safe distance from the power lines. And for example, EMF Center recommends a safety distance of about 1,000 feet. Oregon Energy asserts that EMF radiation emits any direction for up to 1/4 of a mile from power lines, so that's about 1,320 feet. And Spring Garden Elementary is a distance that, again, I wonder at 1,056 feet is enough. Science still has not ruled out that there is a link between overhead power lines and childhood illness, and we know that children are more vulnerable to EMFs because their heads absorb more of the radio frequencies. And so this unanswered question does remain a concern in terms of what is the safe distance. I've also been to a number of the meetings, and they've not really answered that question. And yeah, PSEG or Piedmont representatives, for that matter. And the question really is what scientific data was used to determine a safe distance between the power lines and nearby schools, homes, and parks that are heavily populated by our children. So I do think that there needs to be an impartial body to determine the proper distance that our schools and parks would need to be from these power lines. And yet, I also think, though, with the expected loss of land and livelihoods that would plague our community, I am concerned with these unanswered questions, and my conclusion still is that we probably need to halt this invasive project. But that's my thought. I appreciate the time that you all have allowed me to speak, and I know that this is probably something that you're hearing over and over, but just wanted to share in terms of that specific thing with the power line that's a concern. So thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate that insight. Any other public comments? Dawn, Marlene, Dave? Going once, twice, 3 times. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you all, and we'll be back in October.